Welcome to the Fantasy Beer League podcast, where you get half-decent advice from half-decent guys. I'm your host, Sean Joyce. With me, as always, is Chopped Junior superfan Justin Giel.
That's what I do best.
And our resident fantasy football expert, Matt Senni. Today we're covering the NFC and AFC South. Senni, who are the four teams in the NFC South?
NFC South.
Those are the blue teams.
I know. I'm thinking Titans, or is that the other side?
That's the other side. But you can do AFC. I'll switch it up. I'll pretend I said AFC.
Falcons.
Oh, no.
Oh,
So you're going back and forth.
What if he names all 8 from the South?
If you can name all 8, that'll give you
Then
2
Sean
for
and I
that. I'll give you
each
2.
get punished.
Titans.
Tighten up.
Falcons.
Rise up.
Saints.
Who dat?
Panthers.
One pride. That's the Lions.
Chargers.
No.
No?
No, that's the West.
Colts.
Yeah, that's one.
Colts. What am I missing? 3? I don't know that I can do the rest. But
Oh.
not without taking up more time.
Okay. You missed out on the Bucks,
Okay, Bucks I probably would not have thought
the
of.
Jags, and the Texans.
Okay.
All right, that's tough. You'll get another shot later.
Yeah,
Don't
5
worry
out of
about
8 ain't
that.
bad.
That's not so bad. All right. You want to kick things off with the Saints, Cam, or anything you want to tell us about that hat you're wearing really quick?
It's a borrowed hat.
Borrowed
I like
hat.
the Saints.
Okay. All right.
Big fan of the Saints. I got a Drew Brees jersey at home.
All right. Well, Drew Brees says all lives matters, but there's very few lives that I think matter on this team.
All right.
People love Drew Brees for saying something. That's for sure.
Yeah, I guess so. It depends who you are. But all jokes aside, I think Brees is one of the most prolific passers of our generation, all time even.
Yeah, put him third at all time.
And he's still a great real-life quarterback.
Yeah.
But I'm not high on him in fantasy
He's
this
not,
season.
no.
I have him at QB 14.
Mm-hmm.
After throwing for over 4,000 yards every year since 2006, he hasn't eclipsed that mark in the past 2 seasons. He's an insanely accurate quarterback, but he doesn't offer any value with his legs.
None.
He just turned 41 in January.
25.
Just turned 41 in January. QBs don't last whatever, despite what Tom Brady says. And he's a solid QB too, but he's not a starter for me.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara, Justin. How do you feel about him this year?
It's tough because, I mean, last year was it was a bit of like a dip, but I still think Alvin Kamara is a big back in the league.
Yeah.
He's an insanely talented back, rushing and receiving. So I don't think you can overlook him, and I don't think you should like look down or like pass him up. Like if you can take him, if he's the best person available, I definitely think you should.
I rank him at running back 5. That's where I'd take him, but I wouldn't feel too confident about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's insanely consistent as a receiving back. He has
Yeah.
exactly 81 catches in each of the last 3 seasons. That's 81, 81, 81, 21.
I think he was
20.
trying for that.
Maybe he just gave up after the 81st catch, didn't want to get any more.
He's like, fuck it, we're done. That's it. That's what I want.
And he's definitely one of the most talented players in the league. He
Yeah.
just gets so many limited touches.
Yeah.
He's never had more than 200 carries in an entire season.
Yeah.
For reference, Latavius Murray, who's my running back 34, had 146 carries last year, while Kamara had 171. And plus fucking Taysom Hill will get touches in that offense. It's the most frustrating shit in the league because this dumb white tight end guy that plays quarterback is going to get rushing touches.
Does he wear 2
receiving
gloves?
touches? No, it's Teddy Bridgewater. Taysom Hill is just their big white dude.
Yeah. I know who Taysom Hill is. I just thought he had
resident white guy who takes away points from Alvin Kamara.
Taysom Hill. He just sounds like he went to Duke.
Yeah, he does. I don't remember where he went to school.
I know it wasn't Duke, but
it might have been TCU. Some purple
Should
team.
I do a quick look up?
Yeah, you can do a quick Google. But either way, dude, if you look at like his highlights from when he played at college, he's awful. So the Saints are just using him because he's athletic, and it pisses you off as an Alvin Kamara owner because Kamara gets far fewer touches.
He went to BYU. He's a fucking Mormon.
Oh, BYU.
That makes a lot of sense. That's why I don't like him.
It does. Speaking of guys you probably don't like, Michael Thomas.
I love Michael Thomas.
I have him ranked as wide receiver 1, despite how much he cries about people not thinking that he's not.
What about EA Sports giving him a 99? That's not going to go over.
I don't know about that. I think that the Saints use him well.
Yeah.
And for fantasy football, that's all we care about.
Yeah.
He should be the first wide receiver off the board in every draft.
I see no reason why he shouldn't be.
He had 149 catches last year. That's 149 points right off the bat if you play in PPR.
Yep.
I don't know what else there is to say about that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's another receiver I care for on that offense. They added Emmanuel Sanders, who I think is going to be a solid wide receiver.
Yeah, I think he'll be a good person to kind of draw some coverage away from Michael Thomas, but I still think he's going to see a lot of doubles on his way. But
and I don't think Sanders offers much value on his own.
No.
Third team in 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, he was an initial Steelers boy, too. I've always had a soft spot in my heart for him.
I loved him as soon as he got drafted, and then he's just been bouncing around since then.
Shows up wearing a cowboy hat and a bolo tie. I'm like, oh, you're my man.
Let's talk about Jared Cook, tight end for the Saints. I have him as a low-end tight end 1-ish. I rank him at tight end 12. I'm slightly lower on him because of Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah.
He scored 9 touchdowns last year along with 700 yards. Brees historically has used his tight ends when Jimmy Graham, even Josh Hill after Graham left. He uses that part of the field.
Yeah.
So Cook is a fine play for me, but I wouldn't reach for him. He's not an elite option or even a sure bet to replicate last season's performance. And remember that fantasy football success is all about minimizing risk.
Mm-hmm.
And Jared Cook offers some risk because of all the mouths there are to feed on the Saints.
He's one of those people where it depends on the team that he's on. He's either going to have a great year or you forget he fucking plays for that team.
All right, let's talk about one of Senni's favorite teams, the Atlanta Falcons. They finally moved on from the off-injured Devontae Freeman and replaced him with the injury-free Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley's never been injured in his life.
No, never. He's got perfect knees.
Perfect knees.
Austin Hooper, last year's number 1 tight end through the first 13 weeks of the season, departed for Cleveland and was replaced by Hayden Hurst. Justin, which of these new additions are you most excited about?
So I'm actually most excited to see about Gurley.
Okay.
Just because I want to see how he comes back on a different team and if he did recover from that injury. Plus, he went to school in Georgia. So it's kind of like a hometown comeback for him. So I want to see how he performs. I've always liked Gurley. Last year I wasn't bang on him just because of the injuries and everything like that. So I knew I was like, I don't want anything to do with him. But I'm interested to see what he does and then how he'll go on because the Falcons for a while have been a pretty pass-heavy offense.
Yeah.
So I want to see how he's going to do out of the backfield, receiving-wise.
I agree. I think he's clearly the most talented running back on their roster. Injury is the only concern.
Yep.
But Atlanta has him on a 1-year rental, so I think they'll run him into the ground.
And then not re-sign him.
Exactly.
You see how he does and then go from there.
It's a messed up business move, but I think that the Falcons want to use him and grind his knees into dust. They're going to move the ball, and it would not be shocking to me to see him score double-digit touchdowns. He scored 14 last season, despite seeing a career low in touches.
Yeah.
So Gurley I rank as running back 19. He's a solid running back 2 for me. The only reason I don't rank him higher is because I think that there's a chance that he misses some time with a knee injury or other soft tissue issues.
Yeah, I think if you draft him in the first 2 rounds, I'm going to laugh at you. Is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
So, Tal, take note.
Next, we're going to talk about perhaps the best receiver in the league, Julio Jones. I rank him as wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
He had over 1,000 receiving yards in each of the past 6 seasons, 212 total receptions over the past 2 seasons. And touchdowns are the only drawback. He's only scored 10 touchdowns in a season once in his career. But I have a feeling deep down in my plums that changes this season. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say that this is going to be a breakout year for him, stat-wise. But I think touchdown-wise, I think he's really going to kind of take it to the next level there. So I do think 12 touchdowns, lock it in. That's what he's
12
getting.
touchdowns.
I feel like you always expect him to score at the very least.
He's got the ball in his hands. I'm like, it's a touchdown.
Yeah,
He's got it.
Hey, I hope he does. That's the only thing I dislike about him. I wish he scored more.
Yeah.
But
even so, he's been prime.
Yeah.
Not scoring as many touchdowns as you would think he would.
Yeah. I'm also high on fellow receiver Calvin Ridley. I rank him as wide receiver 24. He's one of the best route runners in the league, and a consistent option for Matt Ryan in a high-volume offense. I view him as a high-end wide receiver 3, but it wouldn't surprise me if he broke out this season and finishes top 15 at the position. Did you spill beer on your phone?
Yeah, I completely
bounced
missed
right on it.
It didn't even go in the glass. It went straight on my fucking phone.
Well done. Senni, who plays quarterback for the Falcons?
So, if you don't know, I've always liked the Atlanta Falcons for the dumbest reasons. High school mascot, red and black are my favorite colors. So, I've always just kept up with one person there, and that is Matt Ryan, because we have the same first name. So, I can only hope that he is still the quarterback there after all this time.
So, Matt Ryan's your final answer?
I sure hope so, man.
Senni got one. All right.
You
get to give out the ice. This is how things work around here. When Senni correctly answers a question, he gets to ice any of us on the production team or sitting here in front of you. So, Senni, who would you like to ice as your first punishment reward of the season?
Justin.
All right.
What?
So, let's get.
Do I gotta kneel down, or can I just sit and take it?
I think you can just sit and take it. I don't want you to be out of frame. I don't want to make more work for Silent Kenny and Vince the freaking Hexagon.
Freaking hexagon. When I'm drinking this, can you talk about the hexagon?
I'll talk about the Hexagon. There's nothing to talk about. It's just
Nice
that's just his name.
sugar.
It's just
ice.
zero sugar ice going down the hatch right there.
Effortlessly.
That was tasty.
What a beast.
All right, can you do a Superman for us with the Cam Newton hat?
Nice.
Beautiful. All right. Last season, Matt Ryan had over 4,000 passing yards and 20 touchdown passes. He's had that every year since 2011, and he's still out here doing it today. The Falcons' skill players are stacked. Even Hayden Hurst, I really like. I think Austin Hooper's last season success was more of a result of Matt Ryan pushing the ball downfield to him than it is about Austin Hooper's talent. Hayden Hurst was a first-round pick by the Ravens in 2018. He never got a chance to shine on that stacked tight end depth chart. But Atlanta is the dream fit for Hayden Hurst.
Yep.
I have him ranked at 14th. I might be too low on him. If he can earn Matt Ryan's trust, he might finish as one of the elite options at the position. So you pair that with the two receivers we talked about and Todd Gurley, who's a talented pass catcher as well. And I like Matt Ryan as a QB1. I rank him as QB7. And I think you'll be able to draft him pretty late because people think of him as an up-and-down type of player. He's not really looked at as an elite option, but he is.
They're going to look at a lot of like the younger guys
I
in the
tend to
league,
be
and
able
the
to
people
get
that are
him pretty
mobile.
later on
in
drafts.
Yeah.
And I've told you guys about my love for Daddy Dimes before, but I'd be just as happy getting Matt Ryan in a similar range.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, you can tell us about that beer you're drinking after you just washed it down a little bit with that delicious
All right, so
zero sugar.
Let's get this one out of
Smirnoff
frame
Ice.
here. So we have from Resident Culture Brewing, which is, you said what, Atlanta?
No, that's from Carolina.
This is from Charlotte, North Carolina. Iconic Anonymity. You want to look at that label right there? It's a pretty cool, weird label. It's good beer. 8.5 ABV. IPA. Get a little bit of peach note to it. Nice, smooth smell. I like it. Big fan of it.
And my beer here is from Atlanta. This is the Monday Night Brewing. Mischief Managed. It's a fermented guava passion fruit Berliner style Weiss.
You
can
know
have
he's a big
sip of it.
passion
I
fruit
know
guy.
you're
Is that a
big
Harry
passion
Potter
fruit.
reference? Mischief Managed.
It might be.
It might be. I mean, I'm
But
not
they
a big
reference
Harry
me for
Potter
the
guy.
passion.
Footprints on it.
I'm not a big Harry Potter guy, Sonny. I don't know what all that means. All I know is that this beer is very tart and very delicious.
Cheers, Jeff.
Cheers.
Cheers, Sonny.
What are you drinking, Sonny?
So I'm drinking a truly hard seltzer, which I believe to be maybe the most feminine drink on the planet. It's even wild berry flavored. I got these at my mother-in-law's house, so didn't even have to pay for them. I have never actually had a Truly before.
Oh, so this is truly your first time having Truly.
This is truly my first time. Okay. I have never thought much of them, but, it's not bad. Tastes pretty much like any other seltzer I've
Yeah.
ever had.
I feel like Truly's got more, like, smell to it than it does taste.
Yeah, that's true. That's realistic.
It smells like a Bath and Body Works.
All right, let's move on to the Bucks. Nothing to talk about here, right?
No, nothing. They didn't get a good quarterback, right?
Sonny, who's a quarterback in Tampa Bay?
In Tampa Bay, Tom Brady.
Oh, wow, he's 2 for 2 on this one.
Which I did not know until recently. So I'm glad I remembered.
All right, Tampa Bay. Go ahead, Sonny. You can ice whoever you want.
I'm going to give this one to Silent Kenny.
Silent Kenny. He has it. You can't hear him.
Yeah, for those that didn't hear, Kenny did say thank you.
He did. He gave a quick thanks. He's drinking it. Going down, going down. No sugar.
You're going to get one next. It's actually pretty good.
Sonny's got to get another question before he gets me.
Ask me the tight end.
And it's done. Well done, Silent Kenny. Well done. All right. So, Tampa Bay let go of famous Jameis and his 30 for 30 season. And they got TB12 to eat the W's for them. They also brought Gronk out of retirement to reunite with the greatest quarterback of all time. How do you see that working out, Justin? Gronk and Tom in Tampa.
There is so much on offense there between Gronk, the wide receivers, Tampa. I think they're going to put up a lot of points, but their defense, I'm just not sold on.
I don't care about their defense. That's even better for us. I'd rather them have a shitty defense because their defense sucks. They're going to be throwing the ball all the time.
So fantasy-wise, I think it's going to be great.
That's all we care about is fantasy.
Yeah. All right. So fantasy-wise, they're going to be great.
Okay.
I think Gronk's going to have a really good year coming off. He just did a that one game show where Michael Key is the host.
Yep.
Have you ever watched it?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's him and Serena Williams.
Yeah. Not Tommy Lee. The small Asian guy. What's his name?
I don't
No
know his
clue.
name. I have no. Tommy Jones.
No, not Tommy.
Silent Kenny.
His last name's Lee. Can somebody
It's
look
not.
it
It's
up?
not Ken Jeong. It's not the Masked Singer.
No.
It's called Game On with an exclamation point. Can somebody look up the show real quick?
All right. Well, you guys are on that. I'm going to talk a little bit about Tom Brady. I think it can go either way. I rank him as QB9, so I think he's going to be good. He's the GOAT. He's also part human, and he's about to turn 43. His stats have been on the decline the past 3 seasons, but New England also hasn't been oozing with offensive talent.
Yeah.
My gut.
But that's the thing. Like, they never had. I mean,
Yeah.
they had Randy Moss.
I know. My gut says that Brady will have a season similar to Peyton Manning's first season in Denver, where he totally shredded NFL passing records.
Oh, Denver. Denver. Okay.
I think Brady wants to take those records back, and I think he's just going to sling it all the time, regardless of
Bobby Lee.
Bobby.
Not Tommy. Tommy Lee's from fucking Motley Crue.
Yeah, and Tommy Lee Jones is from Men in Black.
Yeah.
You know he was gay?
He's not.
No.
He's not gay.
No,
That
he's
can't
not.
be true.
Tom Segura met his family.
And Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, Rob Gronkowski.
So
Not gay either.
I have him as tight end 10. I'm pretty low. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to score a lot. But he hasn't played football in a year. And other than Game On, the last time we saw him was the White Tiger on The Masked Singer. He's mostly used.
He didn't do that bad.
No, he was terrible.
From that first note, Gronk. That was Gronk.
Oh yeah, there was no doubt.
Every football player's been terrible.
I was like, they're only keeping him on because he's Gronk.
Right. The last time we saw him play football, though, he was mostly used as a blocking tight end, and not the lovable monster he once was. I'm just not convinced that Gronk returns to that elite level right away. But Tom Brady has faith in him and chemistry with him, so I think he's going to get some red zone targets.
And that's what I'm more leaning towards.
Yeah.
Like that chemistry and faith.
Really
Yeah.
I think he'll score, but I think there will be morons in leagues that draft him in the 2nd or 3rd round, and don't be that moron. That's all I'm saying.
Can you imagine those passes to Mike Evans though from Tom Brady?
Oh well, let's
that back
talk
shoulder fade.
So Chris Godwin or Mike Evans, who do you like better?
I've always been big on Mike Evans, so I'm gonna have an affinity towards him.
Okay.
But I mean, Chris Godwin's not anything to shy away from.
I have Godwin at wide receiver 6 and Evan at wide receiver 7. I like them both about the same. I give Godwin the slight edge just because he plays from the slot, and Brady has a history of distributing the ball to the middle of the field.
Yeah.
He used Wes
Welker,
Welker, then Julian Edelman. Chris Godwin is built different from those guys. He's bigger, he's stronger, but he's got speed, he's got quick cuts, and in a Bruce Arians offense, I just think that they're going to air the shit out of the ball all the time.
Man, I miss Bruce Arians when he was on the Steelers. Man, I miss that. God damn.
Evans the best big receiver Brady has had since Randy Moss. And in their first season together, they connected for a record 23 touchdown receptions. So
that's so nuts.
That's
that is
unbelievable,
insane.
actually.
Like, it is, oh my God.
So again, I'd be happy drafting either guy.
Yeah.
I think they both finish as wide receiver 1s, elite options at their position.
Yeah.
But I give the slight edge to Godwin. So Godwin, Evans, you got 2 different opinions.
If both of them are available, flip a coin.
Yeah.
You'll be okay.
Yeah. It's just a gut call at that point.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the running backs, the overlooked part of this offense.
Shady.
Shady?
Yeah, LaShawn McCoy. He just went there.
Oh, shit.
Did he really?
Velzy might have told you that when we were drunk in New York.
Well, I guess I missed out on some of this prep, but that's okay. I still don't think LaShawn McCoy's the guy there.
LaShawn McCoy sucks now.
He's not the name he used to be.
No.
Last year, they relied heavily on Ronald Jones. They moved on from Peyton Barber. I rank Ronald Jones as running back 36.
Yeah, I don't like the running game.
I don't really like him. I think he's pretty underwhelming so far in this year. But Keyshawn Vaughn, the rookie they just drafted, I feel like is going to earn that Tom Brady circle of trust, and I think he's going to be the guy. I see him assuming the role of pass catcher in this offense, the way that Brady used James White when he was in New England. I rank Keyshawn Vaughn as running back 30. I think him and Ronald Jones are in the flex consideration, but I wouldn't draft either of them as my starting running back. Anything else you want to say about the Buccaneers, Tampa Bay?
I think they should wear their creamsicle jerseys more frequently than they do.
I'm pretty sure they started like 2-36 in their first 3 seasons when they wore those creamsicle jerseys. It's something ridiculous. It's some terrible record that they have in those jerseys.
I did not look that up, but I do not think Tom Brady will let them go 2-36 this year. Lock it in. They're not going 2-36 this year.
I will agree with that. But the other thing is, Tom Brady historically has played pretty terribly in Florida. I think most of his losses are against Miami in Miami.
Yeah.
And I mean, you get kind of screwed sometimes. Like
that's true.
That miraculous play to Kenyon Drake.
I got like 30 points on that play because I had the quarterback and then Kenyon Drake as well.
Mm.
It was great. It won me a fantasy game, but creamsicle jerseys, lock it in.
All right, creamsicle jerseys.
That Kenyon Drake had like 40 points or something like that?
No, that was last season when he got traded to the Cardinals.
Was it the Cardinals last season?
Yeah.
He's on the Cardinals now.
With the Cardinals now?
Yeah.
All I know is he got me a lot of points and won me a lot of games.
Yeah, he did. He did. Once he got traded to the Cardinals, he did. We'll get there in a week. We'll be talking about the NFC West.
1 week.
But for now, we're going to focus on the Carolina Panthers.
Carolina Reapers.
Fantasy football superstar Christian McCaffrey's team. They replaced Cam Newton with Teddy Two Gloves Bridgewater, and longtime tight end Greg Olsen left for Seattle. Justin, outside of CMC, do you see any fantasy value on this roster?
Well, Bridgewater, because he can move. I don't think he's going to be, like, a showstopper, but I think he's going to be good enough where I wouldn't put him in my top 15, but, no.
Yeah, I strongly disagree. I have DJ Moore ranked as my wide receiver 12. I love his game. He had 87
You've
catches.
always been big on DJ Moore, though, too.
I have been.
Yeah.
He had 87 catches for 1,175 yards last season with bad quarterback play. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater has any standalone value, but I think he can support Moore with high target volume and short completions. And Moore is excellent at running after the catch, so I see a lot of short passes to him.
You got slant plays that he'll find the space and get.
He averages 6 yards after the catch on every reception in his career. So
you catch it at 4 yards, you're getting a first down.
Dude, I'm heartbroken. You just told me that Greg Olsen's not on their team anymore.
Yeah, I should have asked.
I try to pick him up every year.
Well, he still can. He'll just be a Seahawk.
Yeah, I'll get him from Seahawks if that's possible.
All right, and then the only other thing to talk about here in Carolina is Christian McCaffrey. I have him as running back 1. Everybody should. If you have the first pick in your draft, you're taking Christian McCaffrey. Don't get cute. Don't be a shithead. Take Christian McCaffrey. Silent Kenny, get the air horn ready for me. All right. I cannot emphasize this enough. I'm going to tell you guys why you dumb motherfuckers should draft Christian McCaffrey with the first pick in your draft. Michael Thomas was the only player in the league who had more receptions than CMC. If you took away all of his rushing statistics from last season, McCaffrey would have ranked wide receiver 32. That's a higher finish than wide receivers such as Stephon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, Odell Beckham Jr., and Devontae Adams. If you took away all of his receptions and receiving stats and only left his rushing stats, he'd still finish as running back 6 on the season. So again, I say, if you have the first pick, draft this dude! So Grandpa Joe is a total piece of shit,
Yeah,
right?
Grandpa Joe fucking sucks.
Yeah,
oh my god,
he's
dude.
terrible.
My man was just in a coma, just sleeping for 20 years.
Dude,
not a coma, but just laying in bed for 20 years. Little shit for brains comes back with a golden ticket.
Dude,
he's Millie rocking.
He's terrible. It's funny. We all remember this movie, 1971, the original Willy Wonka, where, you know, it seemed like this happy-go-lucky movie about kids going through factories, getting candy and free shit, and it didn't seem like there was anything wrong. But
sounds like a horror movie already.
But Grandpa Joe
a prequel to Snowpiercer.
was just the worst person in the world. So I'm going to give you my reasons why I think he was the worst.
All right.
Okay. So my first reason is that we find out that this guy can walk the entire time. He sits in that bed with the other grandparents, and he doesn't do anything around the house. He lets the mom, the father, the son, they all sit around, and they're, you know, feeding them, they're cleaning up. He doesn't want to help just because he doesn't feel like getting out of bed. This may be something you don't notice in the movie, but he actually smokes a pipe in that house with that family while in bed with all those old people.
Damn.
Worst
I did
part,
not notice this.
Yeah, dude. Worst part is that he sends Charlie to go buy the tobacco with the money that Charlie like gets himself. So he's not even giving him, hey, here's this money, go buy me some tobacco. He's telling him, go buy me tobacco with your own money.
Yo, I already hated this man. Senni is like, adding
Now
fuel to the fire.
Now he's sitting in this bed with all these other like old people literally dying, can't get out of bed, smoking tobacco, giving them cancer, making everything worse.
Yeah.
In the remake, the Grandpa Joe actually in the middle of the night, you remember he wakes up and he tells Charlie, he's like, here's $1, whatever the candy bar costs. Go down to the store, buy a bar, and we'll see if it's got the golden ticket. So here's young ass Charlie, fucking 10 years old, poor kid, can't afford anything, gets a chocolate bar, thinks he's gonna get this golden ticket when there's millions of fucking tickets. There's only one fucking ticket left, and he gets his hopes up, and then if you've seen the movie, you know he doesn't fucking get the ticket there. So of course then he goes and cries himself to sleep at night, doesn't even eat his fucking chocolate bar, he's just miserable.
What do you think he did with that chocolate bar? Just threw it away.
Yo, he ate it. That chocolate bar looked fucking pristine.
there's no
That
way.
Yeah,
chocolate
oh yeah,
looked-
dude, they
that
made it look
chocolate
so
looked-
good.
Have you ever had a Willy Wonka chocolate bar?
Not since I was like 4.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
How was it when you were 4?
I don't know, dude. I was like, I got it like Toys R Us.
Alright, I had it when I was like 24. It was pretty fire.
All right.
I haven't had one since at least middle school. So then he gets the
Alright, I guess
ticket,
I'm just
right?
a guy eating
We all know he finds some fucking money in the gutter because you know his kid's so poor he's fishing through the gutter for fucking $5 bill. He gets it, gets the ticket. He's so excited, and Grandpa Joe jumps out of bed after I looked it up. 20 years. 20 years.
Do. He's out of bed. He's just
20
like, let's go to the
years,
factory.
and he just starts fucking dancing around like he owns the place. Can't imagine how pissed everybody was seeing that he could have gotten up that entire.
Can you imagine how great that would have been if he said, no, you can't fucking come with me. You got out of bed, go get a job.
Should have.
He should have done it.
Pretty sure in the remake he's like, no, we're not going, and Grandpa Joe starts fucking crying about it.
No, I didn't watch the remake. I didn't watch the one with... Are you talking with Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
So once they get to the factory, they meet all the other kids, and then they see what assholes all the other kids, right? They're spoiled, you know, whatever.
Those kids suck.
And he actually says that, like, someone needs to beat Veruca Salt. He's like, someone needs to, like...
Abuse this child.
Abuse this
child,
child.
yeah.
He calls the fat kid, he says that he's a nitwit, so he's over here just talking
Was that Augustus? Was that the big kid?
Augustus.
Yeah.
So he's just talking shit on people's kids.
It's a very fat person named
terrible.
Augustus.
He's like 75.
Yeah.
I have that once they, you know, get towards the end and things don't work out, he calls Wonka a crook, and after he just let them in and fed them all this stuff. And obviously the writers felt so bad about it that in the remake they actually make Grandpa Joe an employee at the factory. So they had to put him like in a submissive role, like, no, you're
My dude is scheming
Oh yeah.
so hard.
Oh,
I
yeah.
fucking hate this guy.
Oh, one of the worst things is that you have to think, since he's not getting out of bed, they have to make sure these old people don't smell, right? So they have, you know, they have to bathe them.
Yeah, they must. Otherwise, that room smells terrible.
So poor.
You get bed sores if you don't bathe them either.
So there's actually a
Smells
scene,
like the woods after you take a shit.
Yeah, number 2.
On 295.
There's actually a scene in the movie where Charlie is on his hands and knees. It looks very inappropriate. Where he Go on.
No, good.
Where he's like bathing him with like buckets, even though we know that he could have gotten up at any point and just walked over and taken a fucking shower. So it's terrible.
If my grandpa went on for 20 years saying you have to bathe me, and then I found out he could walk, I'd punch him square.
I'd
in
be
the
so
mouth.
pissed.
I'd punch him
You
in the
gotta
mouth.
wash his old ass balls that he's been laying in bed with. Then later on, when shit doesn't work out, you know, they all got the little gobstopper, which is just a fucking nerd's rope if you've ever actually seen what they look like. And he's like, oh yeah, come on, Charlie, we'll go sell this to like the competitor company, like just being a fucking asshole. So then they get to the point where you know, spoilers if you haven't seen this fucking 50-year-old movie.
No spoiler alert.
But-
The movie's been out for
But
years.
Charlie
Fucking see it.
wins the factory because he returns the gobstopper for some reason, and the grandpa's just like, oh yeah, what's in it for me? Like, obviously Charlie
What's
is...
in it for me?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here.
I'm probably like 12.
Yeah.
12, he's a kid.
Yeah.
You've
Let
had
that
your
kid
whole
enjoy
life.
the
Go buy a
the
fucking factory.
But the number one reason that we all know is that the movie is famous because all these kids go through and they manage to fuck up this visit. They're going through and they're touching shit. And the grandpa takes Charlie into the room with the fizzy lifting drink, and they drink the soda, and then before you know it, they're floating in the air. And if you don't remember, there's a fucking fan at the top, and they're literally gonna die if somebody doesn't turn the fan off.
Yeah.
So if you remember, that's the reason why he doesn't win. He's like, oh yeah, you snuck off and you did this. So they realized this was so dumb that in the new version of the movie, they don't even have this in there anymore. They took it out because they realized that Grandpa Joe was such an asshole that he just was ruining Charlie's life by making him just as bad as all the others.
Now that we've discussed to exhaustion how terrible Grandpa Joe is, let's talk about another horrible human being in NFL mastermind Bill O'Brien. The Houston Texans begin their season after trading arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL, DeAndre Hopkins, to Arizona for rocks and running back David Johnson.
Dead money.
Justin.
Yeah.
How do you think David Johnson fits into this offense?
I don't think he does.
You don't? Okay.
No.
I love David Johnson this year.
Really?
Yeah. I have him ranked as running back 17. He was running back 5 last season before his injury. And then Cliff Kingsbury just decided to stop using him. If there wasn't, as far as we know, any injury concerns. I remember he was healthy in that game against the Giants. He took 3 snaps, maybe even 1 touch in that entire game. Mm-hmm. And then it was the Chase Edmonds show. Then they traded for Kenyon Drake, and David Johnson just disappeared. David Johnson was one of the premier running backs a few short years ago, and his workload is sure to be massive in this offense. Lamar Miller, Carlos Hyde, Duke Johnson have all finished as top 30 running backs when featured in this offense, and I think David Johnson is way better than all those guys.
I agree with that. Yeah, you have opened my eyes.
Yeah. So I think that David Johnson you can get at a nice low pick, and he's going to put up big numbers for you.
I feel like he'd be a low risk, high reward kind of guy.
Yes, exactly.
With that.
Exactly.
Because I feel like with like a lot of the rankings, they'll take into consideration like everything else that goes into it, like contracts and everything like that. I don't think a lot of them are going to look into like his productivity and like what he can bring. So I think a lot of like the big name rankings are going to have him kind of lower. Right. Agreed. So with that, I guess that's kind of like the mindset that I had initially. Mm-hmm. You saying that, I do agree with that. There are other running backs that I have. Obviously, there are other running backs that I have higher than him, but I don't think he'll be a bad pick. Agreed. If he's like the second running back that you take, he's a good second running back.
I'd be happy with him.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, I rank at QB 6. I think the loss of Hopkins hurts his value a little bit, but he's still an elite talent.
It's hard to not hurt his ranking losing DeAndre Hopkins because he was such a prolific like producer. Mm-hmm. Like you can throw the ball to him 4 feet away and he's gonna get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And
like,
they don't have a guy like that anymore. No.
And it's so fun watching him play. Mm-hmm. Like it week 1 when they played the Saints last year. Yeah. That game was so great to watch. Yeah, it went down to literally the last snap. It was such a fun and entertaining game to play. And I think that's the kind of style that the Texans play. Yeah. They play a good game to watch.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, a lot of offense, which is why I still have Watson ranked as 6 and still think he's elite. Yep. He offers a lot with his legs. He had 413 rushing yards and 7 rushing touchdowns last season. And the only problem that I have with him is there are a lot of question marks around his receiving threats. Yep. Senni, can you name one receiver on the Texans?
No, dude, I haven't followed the Texans in years.
Since they had Matt Schaub.
Dude, Matt Schaub. Exactly. Matt Schaub, Arian Foster. That was like the last time I watched the Texans.
You remember Andre Johnson? Was he from part of that big 3 that you remember?
He was the first ever pick by them, right?
Yes, I do remember Andre Johnson.
Andre Johnson, Matt Schaub, and Lamar Miller. No, not Lamar Miller.
Arian Foster. That was when I cared. Only time in my entire life I cared about the Texans. And after that, I just stopped caring that they existed.
All right. Well, they have 2 guys that I think have some relevancy. Will Fuller, who's been there longer. He has
name boy.
Yep. He has chemistry with Watson, and he's familiar with the playbook already.
He's a good route runner, too.
He had a career-high 670 yards last season in 11 games, but health is a concern. He's never finished a full season.
Even in college, he was always injured.
Like, he's always banged up.
Yeah, he's a drumstick. Yeah. He is such a small person. Yeah. Like, you hit him wrong one time, and he's hurt.
Yep.
It's
absolutely right.
Yeah.
And also off injured, Brandon Cooks, who they added in free agency. He's on his 4th different team in 4 years, which is never a good sign. He has a history of concussions.
Yep.
I think the upside's there for both of those guys, but there are just so many different variables. I don't have much confidence drafting.
I don't think I have ever been big on Brandon Cooks from a fantasy perspective.
Mhm.
Like he's fun to watch when he plays.
Yeah.
But you don't know when he's gonna fucking play.
Mm.
So that's the thing that I can like throw in with that. Like I like watching him, but I don't know when I'm gonna be able to see him.
Yeah, understood. One last thing on Houston. I'm drinking this delicious beer called Hurricane from 903 Brewers out in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. This is a big-bodied beer. It's passion fruit, orange, and lime. Smoothie-style Goza. Get that bad boy out the way for this guy. Nice, smooth, a little sour and tart on the finish, but a lot of fruit flavor in this. These smoothie-style Gozas are just ridiculous. It's like drinking a melted icy. It's delicious. It tastes more like juice than it does beer.
I think I like Gosas more than a regular sour. You know why they add the salt to the Gosa?
Why is that?
Because it accentuates
Accentuates?
yeah, there you go. It brings out the flavor. That's why you add salt to dishes.
It brings out the flavor.
That's why you add salt to dishes, because you're like,
Yeah.
it needs more salt, and you're like,
Like that guy. That's
Yeah,
that
salt
guy.
bag.
Yeah.
like,
All right, are you ready to tighten up?
tighten up.
Senni, are you ready to tighten up?
Yeah.
Who's the Titans quarterback?
Tannehill.
Oh!
Fuck, he got it.
Both begin with T.
You got it, though.
You got it.
Good. I'm glad. I'm a little surprised. I just thought of T. All right, going to Sean.
Damn it.
How'd you not see that coming?
I mean, I knew it was coming, but, dude, I'm feeling it.
Yeah, I'm pretty throttled right now. This is our first episode of the day.
Thank you both for not fucking saying anything while I did that. Just drown the podcast in silence while I'm chugging that beer.
Just have a nice full frame of Sean's eyes tearing up
Yeah,
when he does it.
Jesus Christ. I just sit there in silence while I did that. All right, tighten up.
Tighten up.
Vince, give me a tighten up.
I don't know what that means.
I just want you to say tighten up.
Tighten up.
Tighten up.
Something
All right.
you tell your girl.
Silent Kenny, say tighten up.
Tighten up.
All right, good job.
Not so silent.
They made a run to the AFC Championship game last season in a low-passing, high-rushing offense. Tannehill, Senni's boy, made a huge difference as their real-life quarterback. How do you view him as a fantasy option? I agree. Derrick Henry, though, dominant, bruising running back. I have him ranked as running back 6th. I'm a little concerned about his style of play. Power backs usually have a drop-off year,
Yep.
and he doesn't offer anything in the terms of passing ability.
I agree.
But he had 3 straight games with 30-plus touches to end the season.
Yep.
And I lock him in as an RB1 just from that volume
Yeah.
alone. Even without catching any passes, I think he's a top-tier talent and an absolute superstar in non-PPR leagues.
Like a lot of people have been, he's a defensive end playing running back
Yeah,
with a track runner's like sprint. Like
Yeah.
he's a superhuman.
yeah, he is.
I love Derrick Henry. I would probably put him about 6th, like on a fantasy perspective. But yeah, I'm big Derrick Henry guy.
The other player I like on this team is A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Over 1,000 yards as a rookie. He's in a home run threat on any play. But the low-volume passing offense gives me a little bit of pause for concern.
Do you think that goes up this year?
It's tough to say. I don't think that Derrick Henry can run the ball 30 times a game
I don't think they
for
would
an
want
entire
him to,
season.
Yeah.
That's just too much risk for injury.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, A.J. Brown over 1,000 yards on only 52 catches last season. So he's not getting the ball in his hands a ton, but when he does, he's a threat to take it to the house. I like him as a boom-bust play, wide receiver 3 or flex worthy.
Yeah.
If you can get him as your third receiver, I'd be very happy with that. Because I think there's a chance that if, like you said, if the volume goes up,
Yeah.
his production will go up.
Yeah. But that's hard to tell. So with me personally, I don't know. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't draft him, but I wouldn't draft him as a top 3. I would only draft him as a flex and then maybe pick him up
Yeah,
like going forward.
I see.
But having him on your team, I don't think it's like a hindrance to your team.
All right, tighten up.
Tighten up.
I know.
All right. Indianapolis Colts, Sonny.
No one circles the wagons like the Indianapolis Colts.
Can you name for me one player who is not Phillip Rivers?
T.Y. Hilton.
Oh my
One of
God!
the only people that I know on that team.
I can't believe I really didn't think you were gonna get that.
It's one of the very, very, very few people who I know that's ever played for that team.
All right.
So,
Well, Senni, I have nice things to say about T.Y. Hilton, so pick your icer, and then
Vince, right? It's gotta be Vince.
Vince, is there anywhere you can stand where you'd be in frame to do this?
You stand behind me.
I can stand. You stand behind me.
Oh, behind- yeah,
the most
behind
frame
Senni,
we got
yeah.
is over here.
Yeah.
All right, well, then you can get on one knee and do it like a real man.
Isn't that how we're supposed
That's
to
how you're supposed to do it. The only reason we didn't is because we wouldn't be in frame.
Yeah, in this economy.
Look at him go. I can't believe he got that. I really was.
Well,
I'm
telling you,
pretty
if you had
shocked.
said if you had said other than Philip Rivers and T.Y.
He's
Hilton,
all, come on, you got it.
then I was beat.
There we go.
There we go.
I wasn't stopping until I had it.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you. All right,
what a
you're
beast.
a good hexagon.
For a guy that doesn't drink, that was a good chug.
Yep, he's a good frickin' hexagon. So T.Y. Hilton, I think, is
Yeah, I
Philip
liked-
Rivers'
yep.
favorite target in this offense. I think he takes over that Keenan Allen role.
He's gonna be Keenan Allen light.
Yeah, exactly. I have him ranked as wide receiver 19.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably about where I would have him.
Health is a bit of a concern.
He's never healthy.
But in last
I
season,
shouldn't say he's never healthy, but he's injury prone.
Yeah, and last season his season was derailed by injury, but I think he finishes with over 1,000 yards receiving this season. He's done that in 5 of his 8 years in the league.
Yeah.
I
He's been in
just
the league 8 years.
yeah, and he's had 5 seasons over 1,000 yards received.
Wow.
Your boy Mike Evans has done it every year he's been in the league. I think it's 6 years.
Yeah, I like Mike Evans a
Yeah,
lot.
he's good. But we're talking about T.Y. Hilton. Now.
Ty.
T.Y. Hilton, he'll get those short completion routes from Philip Rivers, and when Phil just says, you know what, I'm just going to chuck it, he's going to chuck it to T.Y.
And he fucking chucks it.
He does chuck.
Yeah, I hate his throw. That shot put throw, I don't like it.
You don't
It's
want
so
to
bad.
anger. You don't want to anger Silent Kenny over there. He's stewing. I can see it in his face.
Kenny, what do you got to say about Philip Rivers?
I was gonna say I always
He
thought
put up-
Kenny
he
was
went
a
like this.
Phillips Rivers fan.
He went like
Silent
this.
Kenny says, okay, he's good.
Say a word. Pick up the mic.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk.
You can talk if you want to
You
talk.
talk, yeah.
You're like,
Philip Rivers is elite, at least was. Now on a new team, most likely he will be.
still elite.
Mic drop.
Still elite. That's still elite. That's still elite.
the
in my
mic
book.
drop from Silent Kenny. I like it.
Mic drop, yeah.
The other player I like on this team is rookie running back Jonathan Taylor. I rank him as running back 25. He had over 2,000 rushing yards each of his last 2 college
Let me
seasons.
try that truly.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're gonna talk about Truly over Jonathan Taylor. That's fine. With
No,
me.
I'm listening. Jonathan Taylor. Yeah.
He had 21.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas. He was in him.
Is that JT?
That was
The oldest son?
No, that was his middle son.
The middle son. What was the middle son's name?
I don't remember, but he had a goiter in his throat, and they thought it was
Oh,
cancer.
they thought it was cancer. That's right. And then Tim went in the backyard and talked to Wilson.
Yeah. Wilson, yeah.
Wilson. Huh?
Face you can never see past that.
So anyway, Jonathan Taylor over 2,000 rushing yards each of his last 2 college seasons, 21 rushing touchdowns and 5 receiving touchdowns last season. So he's a dual threat running back. I think he emerges at the top back in this offense, but it's going to be a committee. I like him as a flex-worthy play, and he might get running back 2 upside should they commit to him full time.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to surpass Marlon Mack, Naheem Hines on this roster. I think he's going to be the running back you want.
And it's because, like, fantasy aside, I've always liked Marlon Mack.
Mm.
He's got braces.
Mm.
We know a lot of people that have braces.
Crazy.
But he's just been I don't know, just a good guy.
Okay. I'm glad you
He's
think.
likable. That's all that
He's
matters.
a likable man. His name's Marlon.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that I'm not as high on the return of the Mac here, Justin. But please talk to me about your Three Floyds beer.
Three Floyds. Alpha King. It's got a pretty scary label. I don't know why that's what I gravitate towards. But it's good. West Coast IPA. A little piney. Kind of tastes like, I would say pine sol that you dropped a tea bag in. Let it steep for a little bit.
And this is from Indiana.
Yeah. Was it Muncie? Munster. Munster. Like the cheese. You ever have Munster cheese?
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, it's like smoky and sweet at the same time. It's good cheese. Want to try it? Yeah,
Sure, I'll take a
Yeah,
sip.
Munster, Indiana.
All right, let's finish this podcast up with the Jacksonville Jaguars because I am buzzed.
Yeah, let's get this.
All right. If you can't go swimming while you're watching a game at Jacksonville Stadium, what's the point of even going? Just cancel the season. I'm pretty low on Leonard Fournette.
Yep.
I have him ranked as running back 18. He had 76 catches last season, but he had 32 or fewer in each of his previous 2 years. They added Chris Thompson in free agency, who has 212 career receptions. So that number of 76 from last year for Fournette, I think, is going to drop dramatically.
It's going to
He only scored 3 touchdowns last season, which seems low for the volume that he gets, and he only has 19 in his entire career. I think his usage is lower this season, and I don't see that scoring exploding to new numbers. He's an RB2 for me. I think some people will view him as an RB1 because of the production he had last season.
Yeah.
But Fournette, to me, is just okay.
Yeah.
He's good.
Not great.
DJ Chark. I love this fucking guy. I drafted him last year probably as the 40th to 50th receiver off the board, and he just blew up. He was a wide receiver 2 for a good chunk of the season, and that was with 2 different quarterbacks starting for him depending on the week. This year he knows Gardner Minshew is going to be his quarterback, and they have great chemistry together.
Yep.
I think he's a solid wide receiver too. Last year he had over 1,000 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. Those are good numbers for a second-year player that emerges as a starter, and he's clearly their guy this year. So they don't have any question marks. Is it going to be Marquise Lee? Is it going to be this guy, that guy? It's DJ Chark.
Yeah,
that's who you want. Draft him.
Yep.
Book it.
I agree. And like, I think they know at this point that like, they pretty much did like a rebuild. They cleaned house. They said this is Minshew's team. Let's get him what he needs. And I think with him, that's the person you got to take.
Absolutely.
I don't think that I would draft Minshew, but I think I would draft Chark.
I would take Minshew in a 2-quarterback league. He had over 300 rushing yards in 12 starts last season, almost 3,300 passing yards.
I would take him for the mustache alone.
Oh, that mustache is
that dude is a man rocket.
Yeah, and those jorts.
The jorts.
Those thighs are popping in the jorts.
I was gonna get a pair of jorts.
Yeah, maybe next episode you can wear a pair of jorts.
What if we watch Avatar beforehand?
Oh, we better. And you guys, I love Daddy Dimes, but
Daddy Dimes,
Minshew is another pick for me as a breakout this season.
Yeah,
I feel like the talent is there. 21 touchdowns last year, only 6 interceptions, and now he's going into his second year and he knows the system, and he's an athletic guy.
Yeah,
and he just looks fucking awesome.
He's
his name kicks ass.
Gardner Minshew Jr.
It's 2.
There's 2 of them.
There's 2.
There's 2 of them in this world.
And it's not Junior, it's 2.
Oh, it's the second.
It's
the sequel.
Yeah.
The sequel.
Gardner Minshew.
His dad is a brick shithouse.
Yeah, his dad is.
His dad's a mean motherfucker.
Yeah, he is. He definitely is.
Yeah.
I think they called him Bubba. I think Gardner Minshew's nickname when he was growing up is Bubba.
That's great.
So if you can draft a guy to play on your fantasy football team and his name is fucking Bubba.
Bubba? Yeah.
You're doing it. You're pulling that trigger.
I'm taking him first overall.
All right.
You talk so highly about Christian McCaffrey, Gardner Minshew
Gardner
first
Minshew,
overall.
The real guy.
I'm just going to say Bubba, and you're going to...
Bubba. Write it down. All right. I think we got everything we need in this episode.
I think that's all we got.
I think it's time for us to sober up a little bit, too, honestly.
Time to sober up. I got to drive a minute and a half to get back home.
All right. We're going to be with you every Wednesday, as always, on the YouTubes and the audio podcasts available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Fantasy Beer League. I'm Sean Joyce. He's Cam Newton's aunt. And here's Matt Senni with his advice of the week.
Don't touch your grandkids, and if you can get out of bed, get the fuck up and do something useful with your life.
Perfect.
Thank you. Have a great week.